There is a king in the Qur'an who may have done the one thing no human being should be able to do: step out of his own time, to the end of the world, to its beginning, and back. For 1,000 years, the greatest scholars could not even agree on his name, and you have recited his story every Friday of your life, never once told what his journey might really be. So stop for 1 second. In the second you just lived, reality could have unfolded in more ways than you could count in a lifetime. Every particle of light, every beat of your heart, a fork in the road. And yet only one world happened. Something keeps choosing. And the king? No one has ever identified him with certainty. A ruler given power over the earth. And something stranger, the ways. He marched to the place where the sun sets and the place where it rises. He packed iron between 2 cliffs, blew it into fire, poured molten copper over it, and took no credit at all. He said only, "This is a mercy from my Lord." Because there is a way of reading this story, an old question wearing modern clothes, in which Dhul-Qarnayn is not traveling across the earth at all. He is traveling across time, to its end, to its beginning, and back to the middle to stand guard. By the end of this, you'll walk that reading for yourself. You'll see what the ways of the heavens means. You'll learn why his wall cannot stand forever. And you may never see a single moment of your life the same way again. Surah al-Kahf. They ask you about Dhul-Qarnayn. Dhul-Qarnayn, the owner of the 2 horns. But in the old tongue, Qarn does not only mean a horn. It also means an age, a generation, an era of time. So the very name the Qur'an chose carries a second reading. The owner of the 2 ages. A man who holds both ends of time. Even the name is a riddle. Some said Alexander, some said Cyrus. The Qur'an refuses to name him, as if who he was matters less than where he went, or, as you're about to see, when. It says only, "We established him in the earth, and we gave him from everything away." So he followed away, west, past every map, to the setting place of the sun. And he found it sinking into a black, murky water. Now stop, because on a globe, there is no such place. The sun does not set anywhere. You can chase the sunset forever and never arrive. Which is exactly why some readers say, this was never a place on the map. The setting place of the sun is the sun's end. And the sun truly has one. Every star that has ever burned has an end already written for it. The far edge of the sun's own story. And even there, at the last light, he finds a people. Life held in God's hand to the very end of the road. And God lays the choice in his hands, punish them or treat them with goodness. Even at the edge of time, the decree still runs, and its keeper still does justice. Then he followed away east, to the rising place of the sun, and a people with no veil between them and its light. Nothing built, nothing covering them. Read it again. The sun's birth. The dawn of time, being standing uncovered under a young sun, before anything in the world had been raised between the sky and the skin. The sun's dawn and humanity's. The end of time. The beginning of time. And then the third way. The strangest of all, because it leads back to the middle. To a valley between 2 barriers, to a people in the present, terrified of what is coming. If this sounds like too much to hang on a story, it hangs on one Arabic word. Sabab. We gave him from everything a sabab, and he followed a sabab. Your translation says means, or a way. But a sabab, in the old tongue, is a rope. A cord you climb to reach a high place you could not otherwise touch. And the Qur'an uses this word one other unforgettable time. Pharaoh commands his minister, "Build me a tower, that I may reach the asbab of the heavens, the ropes of the heavens, the ways of the sky." So the ways are real. Pharaoh grasped at them in arrogance and was destroyed. Dhul-Qarnayn, the Qur'an says quietly, was simply given them. Ropes to what is above the world, above its places. Perhaps, say the readers, above its moments. But a journey through time only means something if time is a thing that can be walked. So ask the deeper question. What is a moment at all? Come back to that second you stopped at the start. The uncountable forks. Physics itself says the world, at its root, is a sea of possibilities. And instant by instant, one becomes real, and the rest never happen. So who chooses? 900 years ago, Imam al-Ghazali and the theologians of Islam gave an answer that still stops the breath. God does not wind the universe up and let it run. He creates it again, every single instant, every atom, every color, every thought, recreated moment after moment. The world is not a machine. It is a miracle on repeat. And the one world that becomes real each instant is not random. The Qur'an says it is already written, all of it, in Allah al-Mahfuz, the preserved tablet. Not a leaf falls without it being written. Every moment that will ever exist, already inked, held before God as a single open page. Ar-Rahman, the Merciful, chooses, from the infinite sea, the one thread that was written. He chose while you heard this sentence. And the one who chooses is not cold. The prophet, peace be upon him, said God made mercy 100 parts and sent only one down into the whole world. Every kindness you have ever known is a shadow of that single part. The other 99, he kept. And above the throne, before creation began, he wrote one line, "My mercy prevails over my wrath." So the hand that chooses your every moment from the infinite is a hand of mercy. And notice where that line was written, in a book with him, above the throne. Many scholars say that book is the preserved tablet itself. The page that holds your whole story was opened with the words, "My mercy prevails." The tablet is not a cold ledger. It was inked by Ar-Rahman. Hold that page in your mind, because now comes the moment the whole reading turns on, not the journey. What he does when he comes back. In the valley of the present, a people beg him for protection from the coming flood of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. He refuses their money, raises a barrier of iron and drowns it in molten copper. And then, standing before his own masterpiece, he says two things. First, this is a mercy from my Lord, not my wall, not my genius. And second, listen, but when the promise of my Lord comes, he will level it to the ground. He announces the fall of his own wall on the day he finishes it. And ask yourself, how could he know? He does not say it may fall. He does not say perhaps one day. He states it the way you state something you have watched happen, with the certainty of an eyewitness. And in this reading, he was one. He had stood at the far end of the road. He had already seen the future where his wall lies leveled. And he built it anyway. The man who stood at the end of time and the beginning of time now stands in the middle, raising a dam he knows is temporary. Total effort, zero illusion, because the story is already written and his task was never to change it. It was to keep it. He does not bend the thread. He guards it, holding back the flood until the hour that Ar-Rahman has already inked. The flood is not defeated. It is scheduled. And some ask a stranger question still. What if the two barriers were never two mountains, but two directions of time? That's a door for another day. And here is what seals the reading. Dhul-Qarnayn is not even the only time anomaly in this chapter. The surah you recite every Friday is full of them. It opens with young men who flee into a cave and sleep. They wake, and one says, "We stayed a day, or part of a day." They had been asleep for 309 years. The world had moved 3 centuries forward while they lived one afternoon. That is not an interpretation. That is the text, the Qur'an's own account of people carried forward through time. And then al-Khidr, breaching a boat to save it from a king who seized every whole one, acting again and again on what has not happened yet, until even Musa cannot bear to watch him. Count them. Sleepers carried past 3 centuries, a teacher reading tomorrow like a memory, a king walking to the 2 ends of the sun, story after story in a single chapter, and every one of them is about time. Surah al-Kahf, the Surah of time. Now, one honest minute. Because this channel does not sell you certainty. The classical scholars read these journeys as geography. Real roads, real peoples, the far west and the far east of the known world. That is the plain reading, and it deserves respect. The time reading you've just walked is a contemplation, powerful, coherent, but not a verdict. And when modern physics whispers alongside it, a universe where past, present, and future may all exist at once, a block already written from cover to cover. Take it as an echo, not a proof. The Qur'an was not sent to encode equations. It was sent to wake the heart. But sit with this. The preserved tablet has been in the text for 14 centuries. Physics only recently found the courage to say the book of time might already be complete. Make of that what you will. And now this is your story. Because you stand exactly where he stood. Inside one moment, unable to see tomorrow, holding back your own small floods, not knowing how long the wall holds. But every second, out of uncountable possibilities, the merciful is choosing you into existence. Your next breath, chosen. The one after, chosen. You are not drifting through randomness. You are being written, letter, by a hand that does not shake. And out of infinity, he chose this thread. Yours. And the one who chooses you is nearer to you than your own jugular vein, closer than anyone has ever been. So, did Dhul-Qarnayn walk through time? Walk the journey again and decide the end, where even the last light still had its people. The beginning, where nothing stood between man and the sun. The middle, where a servant built a wall and announced its fall in the same breath, because the page was already written, and he had made himself its guardian. Stop one more time, for 1 second. Feel that second get chosen. The wall is still standing, the page is still turning, and the same hand that held his thread is holding yours. If this made you feel a single second differently, that is what this channel is for. One hidden reading like this every week. Walk them with me.